Hi, my name is Christine and I'm going to share with you today my top 10 tips for staying safe and having a good time while in India. Everything I wish I knew or I'm glad I did while I was there. Tip number 1. Depending on your nationality, you're going to need a travel visa to go to India. And there's different ways that you can go about doing it, but one thing I want to warn you about is there's a lot of different websites that offer a service to help you obtain this visa. Do not get caught in this scam. It is quite literally a scam. You do not need to go through that process or pay a second party to help you facilitate the process. You just need to go directly to the government website, and I'll just link it here below. And from there you can apply for an e-visa. I think that's probably the simplest way. The process was a little bit daunting, submitting a photo in a particular format, but once you have all that figured out, it was really quite easy. I made the payment and literally within 24 hours, I received an email, I received my travel visa in an attachment, and all I needed to do was print it. So along with that is you do need to print it and bring it with you. It was checked multiple times even before we arrived in India at different airports and then again when we arrived. So print it with you, and a good tip is to always, any travel documents that you have, especially your passport, take a picture, email it to yourself, and keep it in your inbox so that way if anything ever gets misplaced, you always have an extra copy on hand. Tip number 2. This probably goes without saying, you're going to have to drink bottled water in India and buy it as you go. It isn't safe to consume any of the water that's there, not even brushing your teeth with the water in your hotel room. Buy bottled water and ensure that it is a brand new bottle with a sealed lid. Tip number 3. The food in India is amazing and you are not going to be disappointed unless you order something other than Indian cuisine. And surprisingly, it was relatively easy to come across it. In fact, almost every single restaurant that we went to had identical menu, whether we were in a small town or in a large city. It seems as though there was 40 pages with American cuisine and Italian food was available and Chinese and all of that. And while it is on offer, I don't recommend that you try it. Stick with what they're good at and you're not going to be disappointed with what you order. Tip number 4, carry your own toilet paper with you. Unfortunately, you are going to realize that a toilet paper roll in India looks just like this when it's brand new. That's right, this is a brand new roll. I could not believe it. So what I do, everywhere I go, wherever I travel, I always bring with me my own roll of toilet paper and or Kleenex, and I keep it in a Ziploc bag to keep it dry and to keep it clean. And that way, wherever I go, when there's no toilet paper, I always have my own. Tip number 5, stay vigilant, particularly in large cities and in touristy destinations. Unfortunately, it seemed for us, especially in Delhi, that there were a lot of scams where we went. On my first day, I was in a touristy destination. I went to buy some bottled water. The gentleman was very friendly and quickly gave me my change, and I just walked away thinking, oh great, everything was fine. And when I looked at the change that he gave me, it was not even close. I think I probably paid $10 for 2 bottles of water when in reality I probably should have paid $2. So take your time, don't feel pressured, count your change, make sure that you're being charged the right amount and that you're receiving your correct change. Another experience that we had, someone returning our change, counting the correct change for us, but in fact not returning the correct change. And so when you get your change, count it in front of them and make sure that you've gotten what it was owed to you. Tip number 6. Wherever I travel, I do like to bring with me something called a sleep sheet. Essentially, it's a very thin sleeping bag. So it really doesn't take a whole lot of space in my luggage. Comes in a little pouch like this. And I use it particularly in hotels where I think maybe the sheets aren't the cleanest, or when we traveled by train. And we stayed in train for a couple nights when we were in India, and actually I was quite thankful to have this with me. This is a polyester one. It retails for about $20. I was really happy to have my sleep sheet with me, particularly in one hotel in India. There were cockroaches all over the place, and I felt like I needed to wrap myself in my sleep sheet. Let's be honest, it's not like this sleep sheet is going to prevent any insects from crawling in, but ultimately it just made me sleep a little bit better that night. Tip number 7. So for staying healthy in India, you really do want to wash your hands quite frequently. And after you've done that, and before any meal, I always carry with me a small bottle of Purell. And this is really helpful just to prevent germs from being passed around. And since the water that you're using to clean your hands is probably not the cleanest water, this will just take all those last germs away. Tip number 8. Tip number 8 is travel by day. There's a lot of animals all over India that are just walking about, and I'm talking about livestock, cows, pigs, goats, sheep. There are also lots of cats and dogs, and they're everywhere. They're on sidewalks, they're in the middle of the road, they're literally sleeping on the highway. And so if you're driving by day, you will see them, and your driver will see them, and likely be able to drive around them. I can't imagine driving at night, and I think I would really hate to have to strike an animal because I didn't see it, and it could be really dangerous. So I think it'd be wise to just avoid any night travel. Tip number 9, wear closed-toed shoes. Avoid wearing your sandals and your flip-flops wherever you go. So this brings back the idea of there's livestock and animals everywhere. Well, guess what? They're defecating all over the place as well. And there's garbage everywhere. In India, the streets are not clean. And so just walking around with a comfortable shoe is just wise. Your feet will stay clean and likely not get infected because you're touching something that's really disgusting. You'll just be more comfortable during your day. And on that note, that brings me to tip number 10. Bring an extra pair of socks with you. I had the opportunity of visiting some beautiful mosques in India. I hope that you have a chance to go and visit them. You do have to remove your shoes though when you go there. And so I was surprised to discover that inside the mosques, really, you're still outside. And there's livestock in there, there's people in there, there's garbage, unfortunately, all over the ground. And I was a little bit uncomfortable walking around in my bare feet. And so having an extra pair of socks would have been really handy to just slip on while I visited the mosque and then take them off again, possibly throw them out once I left. And with that, those are my 10 tips. I hope you find them useful. I hope you have an awesome time in India. I'm sure you will. And if you like this video and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.